Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, back to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 127. And I am Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of NoDQ, which includes Big G, the returning Jeff Meacham, and Aaron Riff. What's up, everybody? I'll go to you, Jeff, because you haven't been on for a minute.
I haven't been on. I feel like I've been lost in time somewhere. I've got this hat on now, and you and Gio appreciate this. I went to a gift shop on my way back to town, picked up a very interesting piece of information that we'll have to utilize maybe on Sunday for the Super Bowl. We'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, it's been a minute. I've honestly been busier than heck doing my own thing. So I appreciate being allowed to come back on. A lot to talk about this week, surprisingly. Well, not really, I guess, with the Rumble just happening, but interesting topics coming up throughout the wrestling world. I'm curious how everybody feels about those. So,
well, I know we're definitely going to go over an hour today with you on the show. Well, I don't think we've done a show with you under 1 hour.
Right, and if Big G says more than 5 words with me on, it'll be a record. So we'll keep tally as we go.
Well, good to have you back. So stay tuned. We'll be back to you in a few. Big G, what's up?
I'm doing pretty good. We had a good week of wrestling, I think, this past week. We got the Super Bowl coming up, which I'm looking forward to. Other than that, I'm ready to get this ball rolling.
All right. And over to you, Aaron. And I already see we got a super chat.
Yeah, we do. Josh Mansfield just sent in a $2 super chat. He says, all hail Virtue, even when I don't agree with him.
$2.
There you go.
Thank you, Josh.
Josh Mansfield, longtime viewer and supporter of the channel. We appreciate you, Josh. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're coming off the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We had a lot of news stories this week. We had AEW with an eventful ending to their Dynamite episode. No shortage of topics, but we made sure to pick out the most intriguing ones. Virtue, I'm ready to get this started. Let's go ahead and get to that first topic.
Well, following a pay-per-view like we do, we always like to go back and give our final thoughts. So, Royal Rumble. So, Big G. Yes. I mean, we had Edge lasting from number 1, and he won it. Now, I thought he was number 2. What happened
I thought so, too.
That's WWE trolling us. Belair won. Roman retained with the help of referee who stopped counting. Oh, what's your thoughts on the whole event?
I thought it was a good show from start to finish. My fiance was watching with me, and that's the only pay-per-view she really will watch with me is like the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And when I was like literally on the edge of my seat with Goldberg and Drew McIntyre, when Goldberg hit that jackhammer, I really thought it was over. And I'm glad it lasted, less than 5 minutes. Could have been a little bit more than 5, but it was a short, sweet match. Carmella and Sasha was good too. I'm glad Sasha retained. We all knew that was coming. I'm thinking maybe she'll face Bayley at WrestleMania, or no, Belair. Sorry. Both Rumble matches were good. I believe both winners were the right choices. Edge winning it, after 11 years after his last Royal Rumble win, I believe. Bianca, she deserves it. The Roman match was good up until the ending. I don't know if that was on their part or what was going on there.
Heyman's a klutz.
There you go.
Practice unlocking.
I would have rather had, I think Jey Uso was hurt or something like that. Had Jimmy come out or even Adam Pearce, and have Adam Pearce kind of do a heel turn. So yeah, all in all, it was a good pay-per-view. I'm excited for WrestleMania this year. I know it's another 2-nighter, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, and I see somebody said anybody but Virtue. I've been on every episode of the review, or my counterpart, El Virtuoso. So where have you been, Anthony? All right, Jeff, dude, the handcuffs. I'm hearing some feedback when I talk.
Yeah, you're the only one. Big G was not echoing.
Well, usually the person that doesn't echo is causing the echo. So just so you know. But anyway, Jeff, what'd you think of it, man? And Heyman should have used trick handcuffs for Roman or something like that.
Or they should have, rehearsed it during the day. Why not? They had the run of the place. There's no crowd coming in. Practice, dumbasses. And yeah, it's one of those things where live TV, anything happens. And also, the other thing I find very amusing about this whole thing with the pay-per-view botched finish with the Universal. We know for a fact we're not watching live at this point during Thunderdome shows. Otherwise, Alexa couldn't transform him onto that Raw 4 times. So that's right there. You know you're not live for real. Okay. So if they're not going to be live and they want to be able to pull things off and not have botches like that and not get everybody in the room saucy like apparently my hat is right now, then pre-tape the show. Like, do it earlier. There's no, and if you have a problem like that, do a cut shot. Like Aaron could have told you that in 2004 when we did our first video show. Cut shots are okay. Do you really think we blew up Vince McMahon on our show in one take? No. Okay. Like, seriously, guys, it's not that difficult to pull it off. And you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation that's been doing televised wrestling for how long now? Come on, guys. It's sloppy. It's very representative of how little they give a crap about their product and about the output toward their beloved universe if stuff like that happens. The Bianca thing, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm still thinking they're going to do something with the storyline with that, with Rhea Ripley, and have her brought to the main roster as a result of that, because it's right there in the palm of their hand for them to use. So I say go for it.
Now, Jeff, our main event's we're going to talk about that Belair and Edge and who we think they should face, who they probably will face at Mania. But what did you think just in general of those two being the ones selected versus the rest of the field? Because it's always controversial. Somebody's never happy.
Right.
You know?
I had picked Randy all the way. I'm not going to lie. His promo wearing that burn mask convinced me he was going to be the second person to ever three-peat. I was wrong, and I'm okay with that. Edge coming back last year was about the comeback. Edge coming back last year was about making it right and getting back what he had taken from him. This year, the comeback is about getting back what he had to give up in that retirement. He never lost the world championship. He had to hand it over to, I think it was Teddy, maybe John Laurinaitis. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But he wants the championship, and I feel that his quest for that is awesome. Not to play on his own words or whatever, but yeah, it's a good idea. And Bianca, I'm totally okay with her winning. She was one of my 3 picks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And she is one of those bright shining stars that just has nothing but upside to her. Everybody seems to love her. I don't hear a bad thing about her from the locker room or from the crowd when the people are watching on TV. So go for it. And will she beat Sasha? Will she beat Asuka? Time will tell. We'll see what happens tomorrow with, like you said, with her and Rhea going over and the whole botch thing with the feet. We may get a match before then at Fastlane or Chambers. So.
And this was one of those Rumbles, Jeff, where my winners that I selected didn't win, but I wasn't upset.
Yeah.
When you know what I mean? It wasn't one of those that left a bitter taste in my mouth or they're going to get buried. So granted, we'll talk about that more and who they might face, and because the titles could change hands before Mania, but we'll see. Aaron, what did you think? To the Roman match, it was a great show of what Kevin Owens does best. A lot of people give Kevin Owens heat. Well, why are your matches never in the ring? They're always crazy stuff, and you're diving off of stuff. And Mick Foley did the same thing,
right.
People, and you loved him. Cut KO a break. I wish they would have used trick handcuffs where in case there was a botch unlocking it, Roman could have pulled it off, or Paul Heyman would have practiced unlocking real handcuffs like the whole weekend before the show. Aaron, what do you think? Last minute thoughts. I know it's recap for you. But.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think next time they'll know better and they'll have a backup plan so that will not happen again. Things happen on live pay-per-view. We've seen mishaps before, and I'm sure we'll see mishaps again in the future. It just was unfortunate that these guys were having such a great match and everything went down the way it did. Big G?
I forgot to mention, what did you guys think about the surprises in the Rumbles? Carlito coming back. Christian coming back in the Rumble, women's side, I think Victoria came back, so it was cool to see those people that we hadn't seen in a while. And damn, Carlito, I tell you what,
Christian was the best. I hope Aaron agrees with me here, because the part with Edge, right? Mm-hmm. That's what made it so great. Aaron?
Yeah, and see, Carlito was already rumored for the Raw Legends night, and I was thinking there was a decent chance he would show up in the Rumble. He looked great, but yeah, Christian coming back, I don't think anybody saw coming.
No.
You really thought that he was done because he had a chance to maybe make a comeback when he did that appearance on Raw last year with Randy Orton. I thought if there was ever a time he would come back and wrestle again, it would have been then. And when it did not happen, I'm like, well, that's it. He's done. So for him to come back, that was a major surprise. And the whole pay-per-view was great, in my opinion. As far as the Rumble winners go, I think history will determine how great their wins end up being. Like, in the moment, they were great, but what will be the follow-up? Remember, Shinsuke Nakamura won, and he kind of fizzled out after that. So I'll wait and see what happens with Bianca and, well, Edge. You know he's not going to fizzle out, but
No,
Bianca's the real
Ed's not
test.
fizzling out.
What
What's
does
going to
everybody
happen
think
with her?
Aaron, like, what does everybody think with these Goldberg appearances? We know he's contracted to do a couple matches a year, but if he's going to do these and just, like, he can't go that long. Like, what do they do with Goldberg if they say he has to wrestle on his contract? Because I just think this was a waste. It took somebody's spot. And it's not Goldberg's fault because he's cashing in on the contract they gave him. But these matches, shit, they suck.
Yeah, they
No,
do.
I agree. They're just spamming the finishing moves, and there's not really any substance to it. But hey, Drew McIntyre got a win over an all-time legend, so more power to him. The one and only Caleb Jacobs sent in a $1.20 super chat. Thank you very much, Caleb. We appreciate it. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, prediction, Christian and Big E IC title at WrestleMania. I would be fine with that, although it's going to be hard to boo Christian. You got to have a heel against him, I think. But yeah, I'm hoping. I think a lot of people want to see Edge and Christian team up at some point, and I think that's inevitable. That to me is the one I'm really looking forward to, is seeing Edge and Christian reunite as a tag team. I think that to use their term will be reeking of awesomeness.
It was an okay Royal Rumble. It was above average for having no fans and doing it in the Thunderdome. And, we've seen worse, right? I mean, we've seen a lot worse. So here we are at WrestleMania season right now. We are going, and that's what these next couple months are going to be.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic. Yes, sir.
Wait. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you. He says,
transitional.
How about Goldberg in a cinematic match versus The Fiend?
They could edit it. Goldberg in a cinematic, why not? If that counts towards one of the matches on his contract. Why not? What does anybody else think?
I think we're all just speechless at how
I'm not allowed to
ridiculous
say what I want to say on Aaron's channel. I'll get it thrown off YouTube.
But I'm saying if Goldberg has to have these matches, put him in a cinematic match that you can edit against whoever, rather than have him come out and do a 4-minute match getting blown up.
But Virtue, to quote me, here's the thing. Undertaker had a cinematic match to end his career. And they had to stop tape because he sliced his arm open to pieces, just like Goldberg did 20 years ago. So,
but that's okay. That gives him time to.
Well, what I'm saying is, if Undertaker's as careful as he's always been, and it happens to him, Goldberg might hurt himself, which again, that's his bad, or he might hurt Bray, and that's hurting the Fiend right now, where he's gone and won't come back for a while, is catastrophic to happen. So I am firmly against that.
Just give Goldberg squash matches like against Ziggler, if those count. There you go.
Right.
By the way, Jeff,
I love Dolph personally, but I'm okay with that for the record.
Yeah.
Jeff, just letting you know, a couple of people in the chat room said your volume is low. I can hear you, but you do sound a little bit lower than Big G and Virtue.
Well, I don't have I'm on my phone, guys, because my computer, as we all know, if you watch my shows, is hot garbage. So I'm gonna have to do I can't find my earpiece anywhere, so I'm trying to work with what I got here, but I will endeavor to find it.
Oh, you can just shout. All right, next topic. Lars Sullivan. Lars. It just never, like, he had some traction in NXT, and then once the main roster started once he got to the main roster, problems, trouble. Like the wrestling business, you have to have thick skin. It's not for everybody. The guy looked the part, right? He looked like the monster, but it just didn't work out. And sounds like he wants nothing to do with the wrestling business anymore. We'll see. What's everybody's thoughts here? A typical guy that Vince McMahon probably saw, hey, we could build you as a monster. but he just wasn't cut out for that type of business. Maybe too emotional, too much politics, too many demons in his closet that started resurfacing. Big G, thoughts on Lars? Did not work out.
I mean, in NXT, I thought he was okay, but like you mentioned, on the main roster, as he started off pretty good, and then once everything came up online about his past and everything like that, it just all went downhill from there for him. And I don't know if he was injured. I can't remember if he was injured or they just had him off TV for the longest time. And he came back a couple months ago, and they tried to do something with him again, and it didn't work out. People are replaceable in the WWE. Most stars are replaceable, and they will find somebody like Lars Sullivan. I mean, they still have big guys in WWE. You got Keith Lee and others. So,
Strowman. Strowman.
Oh, Strowman. Yeah, correct. Strowman. Sorry. And, if he does continue to wrestle in another company, hopefully they'll use him better and they won't hold the past against him, and, they'll look past it. If not, if he's done, good for him. Hopefully he finds something that he's passionate about and goes from there.
Jeff, thoughts on Lars Sullivan?
Well, Virgil, I can think of two big guys that this has happened to before, as far as they get in there and they see the glamour and the sunshine and whatnot, and they don't see the dark side. Nathan Jones, and for a period of time, Brock Lesnar. I mean, Brock, his first run was 2 years. He went WrestleMania 18, WrestleMania 20, and then he was done because he couldn't handle the road. He couldn't handle all that stuff. He's come back now off in and out and done very well in the role he's done in the last almost 9 years now. But, we've always heard from everybody, this business is not for everybody. And, and Lars has a lot of skeletons in his closet, like a lot. And I was going to bring up a point. I think it's relevant here. If WWE is hesitant to sign Tessa Blanchard with the one really bad thing that's in her column of crap, who is going to sign Lars with all this baggage dragging him behind him?
And he doesn't fit, like the big guys like him don't fit the mold of those non-WWE wrestling companies.
No.
I mean, Impact, but I mean,
yeah, he doesn't fit into AEW's roster makeup at all. I mean, Impact, they'll sign anybody if they've got a name or a buzz, and they'll give him for a couple weeks and we'll see how they go. So maybe he'll end up there, yeah. So I honestly don't know where they're going from here. I don't think Lars is going to fit in anywhere as long as all that stuff is trailing behind him like a dark cloud. So I think his wrestling career is over.
Yeah. And I agree.
And unfortunately, from what I've heard about the guy now, that's a shame, because it seems like he's gotten his proverbial crap together as far as being what he was compared to what he is. But yeah, on WWE's roster, Michael makes a good point. Complete waste of time. They tried many times to get the trigger pulled. It just didn't happen. So good riddance as far as I'm
concerned. Look, Big Cass is out of the business. Ryback is not. I mean,
yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, though, Cass has had some class and gone away. Like, he's actually,
and I hope he's in a good place. Away. Like, I hope he's got where he needed to be personally.
Yeah.
Right. And then Ryback, Ryback will be around as long as people give him attention, like Mark Henry. So,
Yep. All right, over to you, Aaron. And I think there's some super chats.
Yeah, we do have a super chat from Adrian. Yo, Adrian. He sent in a very generous €10 super chat. Appreciate that. He says, I'm disappointed Lars got released, as I was looking forward to him bumping and grinding on Ricochet. Maybe one day Ricochet and him can recreate a beautiful moment together. All right. The king of comedy, Adrian, ladies and gentlemen.
He actually said on Twitter he's looking forward to pushing my buttons today, so we'll see how the rest of the hour goes.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he's just purposely going to send these super chats just to get Jeff angry and see if Jeff could storm out of the chat room here
He
tonight.
loves when I come back, man. It's a fun time.
Anyways, just regarding Lars Sullivan, it's a shame. I remember seeing him in 2016 at an NXT house show, and I I was impressed with him. I was like, this guy stands out from everybody else. He looks the part. He looks like a guy that could be a major star in WWE. He's built like a tank, and he just has this physical presence to him. I thought he was going to go far, but his personal life ended up becoming a factor. He had the anxiety issues. He had the past message board comments, which people dug up from 10 years ago, and he had to apologize for that. He got fined $100,000. It was pretty crazy. And then he got hurt. He had injuries. He had a lot of things working against him. And it's just a shame. Sometimes things don't work out. You see somebody, you think they have potential, but for one reason or another, sometimes it's multiple reasons, things just don't pan out. It's a shame. I hope he finds peace and happiness in his life. I think he's probably done with wrestling. I don't think AEW is going to be calling him or bringing him in. I just think they will be staying away from any kind of controversy. And you know, he really doesn't fit in with what they're presenting. So, yeah, I think the odds are he's probably done in wrestling, at least for the time being. And we do have some breaking news. Virtue, if you want to say anything about Lars Sullivan, go for it. Otherwise,
he has a look to
be topic.
He has a look to be in low-budget movies like Redbox, you know, horror movies. Maybe he can get a couple gigs where he's in a couple scenes because of his look. You know, more power to him, but. Good luck in your future endeavors. All right, Aaron, breaking news.
All right, so WWE.com, as we're doing this live stream, they just announced that Steve Cutler of King Corbin's group, whatever they were called, I already forgot what they were called. I forgot the Forgotten Sons, but I also forgot Corbin's, what is it, the Knights of the Round Table or something?
Knights of the Lone Wolf.
All right, whatever. It was a terrible group.
It was.
And it was pulled from TV a couple weeks ago. Like, they haven't been on TV in a couple weeks. And yeah, he is gone. WWE did wish him well in his future endeavors. And I'm not sure what this means for the other guy. Who's the other guy?
They can reunite Blake and Murphy.
Good.
Yeah. I hate to say it. I don't think it's looking good for the other guy, Wesley Blake. Like, it would not shock me if he's next. But yeah, this is kind of interesting.
So we'll see.
This is kind of interesting because so far we only have this one release, and when WWE tends to announce releases, we get more than one. So it's kind of weird if it's just one random release. And it's also interesting the time. Usually we don't have release announcements this late into the day. So.
Well, Lars, I mean, and now Cutler, that's two.
Well, Lars was never officially announced. WWE never announced Lars' release.
It was just a side. It was like more like hush hush.
They've kept mum on that as much as possible.
But we confirmed that's official with Lars Sullivan then.
Yeah.
So
Lars confirmed it.
So
yeah, there's still that, in my opinion.
Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says Lars deserves a better bump and grind than Ricochet.
I'm not touching that one. Move right along.
All right. Anybody have thoughts on the news here about Steve Cutler?
No, it's a shame.
It's not a big deal for me.
The Forgotten Sons are talented guys, all three. I mean, Blake's been around forever. He and Murphy were really Alexa's gateway into the main roster because she managed them as a tag team in NXT, and so that's a shame. I know Blake is a father. I think he's with the girl from Tough Enough, Sarah, I think her name was.
Sarah, yeah.
So hopefully he doesn't lose his job because he's got a family to think about. Let's not kid ourselves. And yeah, Elon made a great point, the same point that G made. Blake and Murphy are both still on the roster. So I don't see why they can't do something there if they could salvage the King's Court thing if they really want to with Murphy instead, although Murphy went from a really high profile thing with Rollins and the Mysterios, and now he's just not there. So it's very bizarre. But yeah, Steve Cutler, he'll land an AEW or Impact. He's too talented to be gone long.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be more breaking news before we end the show.
Right.
This really interests me. I haven't posted a column recently on NoDQ, but I'm working on a CM Punk one. It's titled "Punk is Patiently Waiting." This is interesting. He's going to be in a Starz TV series called Heels, and he's going to be in a wrestling ring and doing some, it's filmed, not true wrestling, but it's going to be filmed. But we're going to get to see Punk on TV in a wrestling ring. And could this be the gateway to maybe get him interested, get that blood flowing again, to finally crash the NoDQ website and return? I am interested in this. I'm looking at ways, because I don't have the Starz app, but I've had it before when they've had things I wanted to watch, like Ash vs. Evil Dead. I'm interested in seeing this whenever it's out, and Stephen Amell is involved. Jeff, I'm coming right back to you. Does this interest you at all? It's better than UFC.
Yeah, he'll get far less hurt, that's for sure.
It's Punk.
Yeah. I go back and forth with Punk. I'm not a fan of the last 7 years, but he showed respect and it was cool with my father. So I go back and forth with him. I really do. I'm happy as long as anybody who wants to get the kind of work they want to get gets the kind of work they want to get. And Punk seems to want to do this job. He wants to be in this role, in this thing on Starz with Stephen Amell. And you can downplay it all you want because the DCEU is way less prominent in the MCU, but working with Stephen Amell in Hollywood is no joke right now. He is a player. He really is. And he has been for a few years now. So, and we all know that Amell is buddies with, half of AEW's roster pretty much. Everybody that was at All In, he's friends with. So, and we know there was contact with Punk there. So, of course, everybody's saying, "Oh, this is the gateway. Here we go. He's going to go from Amell to right to AEW."
And it's in Atlanta. Nice. And doesn't Cody live in Atlanta?
Yes, Cody
lives
or the suburb. Yeah,
Yeah.
So again, this is going to fuel speculation for a while because now Punk's working with Stephen Amell, who was on the All In card, who faced former AEW Tag Team Champion Christopher Daniels on that card. So there's going to be a lot of shit thrown up in the air about he's going to do it. It's like, guys, let the man film his TV show or his movie or whatever and just let it be. If he comes back, wonderful. If he doesn't, be honest with yourselves. After 7 years, do you really care at this point? I mean, really?
But they will. I mean, the urgency of him coming back is worn off. But right. And Aaron, we all know. Well, if and when it happens, it's gonna be an earthquake.
Well, yeah. Once that music hits, wherever it does end up hitting, the place is going to explode. There's no question about that. But all I'm saying is everybody's sitting there going, having a spaz about it happening just because he signed to make a TV show with Stephen Amell. It's like, guys,
I'm excited for the show. It's called Heels. Like, exactly. I want to see what this show is.
There has been no greater verbal heel in the last decade, I think, than CM Punk, and I still stand by that. So,
and I hope he's a dick in it. I hope he's just they make him like just evil. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I want that CM Punk that you wanted to see take Vince's head off, like for real.
Yep. So,
but for everybody to get all in a fervor, it's like, guys, he's just in a TV show, and I'm gonna enjoy the TV show for what it is. I'm gonna do the same thing you do, Virtue. I'm gonna get that Starz trial and see how it looks, and if the whole thing is worth my time, I'll throw down the money. So.
Yep. Well said. I'm going to bounce it over to Aaron because there are some chats.
All right. Yeah, we do have a few super chats here.
Sorry about that, boss.
That's okay. Ernie Eastman sent in a $2 super chat. Says Chris Jericho is the best in the world. Off topic, but he's among the best in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, it's not true. He's the best in the world at what he does.
Whatever that may be. So,
yes.
There you go.
Spreading virus, perhaps. I don't know.
Oh, poor Jericho, dude. There was a few chats.
Anyways,
it's just next.
I keyed. Keith Roberts sent in a very nice $9.99 super chat. Thank you for that. That'll go towards 1 month of WWE on Peacock, I suppose.
No commercials.
He's going off topic here, so you know what? I'm going to take this off for the moment, and we'll go to that after we finish this. So, as far as CM Punk doing the show goes, I think I'll check it out of curiosity just to see what he does, and I don't think it really means anything as far as CM Punk possibly getting back into wrestling. But anything he does that's involved with wrestling, is always a positive sign that at least he's not completely turned off of the business and he's still somewhat passionate about it. So I do think that is something to look at as a positive, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's got his own projects going on and he's keeping busy post WWE, and it's going to continue. People will continue to speculate and wonder if he's ever going to show up. Jeff, go ahead.
You did miss a super chat from Mike D, and actually it's about this topic. It's above.
I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read that one off. And Mike D says Punk getting that ring rust out before his return.
See, there you go, stirring the shit. There you go. See,
I mean, people will speculate on it, I'm sure.
Yep.
But the bottom line is, we can all talk about him returning and whatnot. I don't think we're going to see him again until we have crowds at the very earliest.
Right.
And not even WrestleMania. As much as that could happen if WWE threw enough money at him, like, he's going to come back when you have a full crowd of people, as far as I'm concerned. So I think we can rest on the CM Punk rumors for a while now and just be happy that the guy's doing something that he's passionate about.
Yeah, like I said, Aaron, I'm interested in the show. I want to see what this TV show is about. I'm always looking into getting into new TV shows, and why not with with CM Punk in it? All right, Big Absolutely. G, thoughts on this? I mean, you like your streaming services and TV shows.
I'm happy for him. Maybe I'll get Starz and let Jeff get along with it.
I know my mom has Starz, so I think we're okay on that one too.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the show's about. Obviously, it's about wrestling, and hopefully he'll play a heel on the show, and we'll see what he does. I know they're filming it right now, so it probably won't be out till the summertime. So we'll see.
All right. Well said. Let's move on. Right. Go ahead, Aaron.
Well, let's go back to that super chat from earlier, because this was a different topic. So I didn't want to just completely go in a different direction.
Super chat. Okay.
Yeah. Keith Roberts with $9.99 says, thoughts on Charlotte smiling when she was eliminated. Thought it buried the moment for Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. It's like she knows she's going to be in the women's title match at WrestleMania regardless, so F it. I did not notice this.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Your thoughts on it, Virtue?
And I thought it was a smile to be like, okay, you got me here. You got me here. I'm going to smile back at you because I'm Charlotte and I'm still going to be okay. Like you just mentioned, Aaron. So it was like a cocky smile to me, like, no big deal. I'll still find my way. But I distinctly remember seeing it when she was sitting on the floor.
I would actually take it more like Undertaker in 2003 when Brock got him over the top rope. He's like, you got me. All right, you got me. But when you win, I'm
kind of like that, Jeff. Yeah. Big G, did you notice it?
I did. I did. I thought it was just a cocky laugh, like you guys just said.
Yes.
Like, when I saw it, I was like, all right, she's coming back. She ain't gone.
Well, there you go. That's what we think on that. So thanks for the super chat. Okay, here's a controversial topic. Mr. Tito posted an article recently on NoDQ.com, the opinion section, and he was basically pointing out the incompetencies of Triple H. Now, I read the article, and everybody knows how much I disagree with Tito. Let's look at this before we get everybody else's opinions. Triple H is great at running NXT as a developmental program type thing to get wrestlers in tune of how to look at the cameras, look at the hard cam, stuff like that, the whole process of being a WWE superstar. And he owns that. He loves he takes pictures with the indie wrestlers he signs, and it's his own little world down there. But there really hasn't been many main event. Now, yes, people have got promoted to the main roster and have had some success in main event levels on the main roster, but Tito was really meaning long-lasting stars like back in the Jim Ross era, who was responsible for Orton, Batista. What was that class? Lesnar.
And Cena. Yeah, Cena. Cena,
right?
Batista, Lesnar. Yeah.
There really isn't that group of people that Triple H is known for. It's a lot of indie guys that Vince McMahon doesn't see as top drawing consistently WrestleMania main event type stars. Not that that's a problem with Triple H. I think he knows that and he owns that. He knows he's handcuffed because of Vince McMahon's vision. So I wouldn't say he's a failure, but what's everyone's take on this? Because a lot of people thought Tito was wrong. It's Vince McMahon's fault for no new stars and just not giving people the right creative on the main roster. But I think Triple H doesn't push enough like he could, and he's okay with these wrestlers that he signs into NXT not being or looking like these huge, long-lasting stars. It's interesting. Roman, to me, was still before the Triple H era, so you can bring some names up, Becky, Charlotte, all that, but who's really been long-lasting? And would Charlotte and Becky have got to the main event of WrestleMania without Ronda Rousey? Big G, what is your thoughts here? Is Triple H incompetent in terms of what Jim Ross used to be able to do? Long-lasting main event, larger-than-life superstars.
Honestly, I think
It's a good topic.
I think he does the best that he can with them down there. And when they go up to the main roster, I kind of feel like Vince doesn't like these certain indie wrestlers or, people that came from different promotions. Like, honestly, for example, I'm going to stick with Shayna Baszler. I've been a huge Shayna Baszler fan. And, she was dominant in NXT. And she held the women's title twice, I believe. She goes to the main roster. And, she's on the Royal Rumble, I think, last year. Then the night after, she bites Becky's neck. And, you see the blood coming. She dominates the Elimination Chamber. Wipes out everybody. Loses to Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. And now she's in a tag team with Nia Jax. I think the woman has potential to be a big star. She's a former, she was in the UFC, but I think she could be a big star, and I don't think Vince sees that in her. There was a couple tag teams that I thought were good down in NXT, and as soon as they got to the main roster, I think. But
is it safe to say there has been no consistent Mania level main event stars from NXT? I mean, there hasn't.
And I think that's why Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in the Undisputed Era do not want to go to the main roster, because if they go to the main roster, they have seen what their friends have been through. The Revival, FTR. I thought they were one of the hottest tag teams in NXT. They went to the main roster. They were turned into a comedy act. I don't understand why Vince wants these tag teams to be comedy acts. Correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the 80s and 90s, tag team was Vince's thing, correct? Or
it was borderline main event.
Yeah, they were the main event of the Chicago portion of Mania.
I don't know what is up Vince's ass. He needs to get whatever is out of his ass and let these people be stars, because people are getting sick and tired of seeing all these part-timers come in and take other people's spots. So technically I want to say it's both their faults, because Triple H he's not standing up for these guys. Yeah, he's there on Raw and SmackDown
because he's happy. He's happy with NXT. He'd prefer they stay in NXT, I think.
Here we go. This coffee guy. Damian Priest and Karrion Kross. Two huge stars. And I feel if they bring up Karrion Kross, Vince does not know what he's going to do with him. He'll have one big run.
Like Aleister Black.
Aleister Black, Keith Lee. There are so many names. Yeah. And I think Triple H is scared to stand up to his father-in-law and say, hey, look, these guys can be the next big stars. But Vince does not want anybody bigger than the WWE. Look how long it took Roman Reigns to finally get free from the handcuffs.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Look at you, man. You really went out on your own limb today with that topic. I am proud of you, Big G.
Was that more than 5 minutes?
Dude, that is a highlight reel. And now Jeff's going to have to follow that up.
Hey.
Blur it out.
But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot where I was. Sorry. yeah, it's somebody in the chat said the roster stack doesn't help. There's so many people on the roster that it's almost like they don't know what the hell to do with everybody, which I've said for the longest time. I get they keep people hired and on the roster because they want to make sure if injuries go down, they have somebody to, plug into a spot for a temporary time or a small portion of time. But yeah, there is so many people amongst all three brands. Yeah, remember, NXT is developmental, so they're ever changing. People that are coming in that door, going out that door, or whatever. And then Raw and SmackDown, everybody, Raw and SmackDown are so stagnant. It's like, yeah, because they're the same people we see every week because it seems like Vince isn't ready to push those guys. But I do understand the criticism from the Triple H haters that, he does seem like he likes his own little role down there at the Capitol Wrestling Center where he can, have these guys do what he wants to do. You made a very good point, Virtue, when you first started the topic before Big G went off on the biggest rant of his career. Larger than life characters. Vince has always been about that.
Yeah.
Now, Hunter, yes, his main guy he idolizes Ric Flair. There's nobody more grandiose than the Nature Boy, right? But Ric Flair can also go in the ring and go 45 to an hour wrestling. That's what Triple H likes to see more of, is guys that can go out there and wrestle and to your claim, to your credit, be the spot monkeys, and do all the spots that make the fans pop out of their seats. He likes that, it seems like, more than he likes the grandiose, larger than life, big booming characters that his father-in-law has been so, where's Hogan, for example, and Austin to a certain extent. Austin was very much more grounded than Hogan was. Let's not kid ourselves. But yeah, I can definitely see both sides of the argument. Hunter seems like he just wants to keep guys in that little mold of my little indie project who I can watch every single week and, every day at training, bounce off the ring ropes like a damned jumping bean, and then, put him up there and have daddy-in-law go, and come back home. So it's it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's correct. But my thing with that is this: if that's the formula they're both using, that's a recipe for disaster, no matter who it is, Vince or Triple H. They're not looking for success there. They're looking for their own gratification, which we know Vince is guilty of, has been for years. So the person we've long thought was going to be the fan savior of the business is now doing the same type of shit, which is terrible. See, and Triple H is in a weird position with this because maybe they don't want any stars to be bigger than the brand. Right. And like Jim Ross did, that wasn't the case back then. He was supposed to find the next Hulk Hogan's and the next Rocks and stuff like that. So it is, Triple H does have his, but it's Triple H. Should he be boisterous? Should he say, we need to make Keith Lee a big star? But I still believe, and yes, creative and booking does have a lot to do with it, but stars will shine. And if there was a true star that has come up through NXT, and Drew McIntyre doesn't count now because he was always main roster. When he came back and went to NXT, it was just like to get back into WWE ring shape. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. But that's true stars would shine, and maybe there just hasn't been any yet. So here's my thing to that, and if it happens, we'll wait and see. When the Undisputed Era gets called up, we'll see how they do, because they have been indie darlings forever. Adam Cole, Aaron and I saw Adam Cole at PWG. It feels like eons ago now. Yeah. So he is an indie darling if there ever was one. Him and of course O'Reilly and Fish. Those what's her name? Red Dragon. Red Dragon. Jesus Christ. So those three guys coming up, if they do come up, if they succeed at the level that four of us in this room can agree they should succeed, then that'll be very telling. If they end up being indie flops like the rest of them, well, there you go. We have our answer. And Karrion Kross coming up, I love Eon. I'm talking about 24/7. Yeah, that's the thing. They seem to take these guys they don't know what the hell to do with, and just have them chase Truth around for 2 hours. What? How about just cut the guy loose, let him go work somewhere else? Yeah. Big G, before I pass it to Aaron, did you have another thought here?
Yes. If we can find some topics, I do want to challenge Mr. Tito to a great no DQ debate.
Oh, Nice.
Wow. There you go, Tito.
Well,
You
all
heard
right.
it.
So
Here's the
Mr.
challenge.
Tito's on notice. By the way, Virtue, there's a super chat here from Adrian for $5.
It's your turn anyway, so take it over, man.
Okay, well, we're just going to say this, Adrian. He says, off topic, what are the panel's thoughts on Gabby's announcement, formerly known as Tyler Rex? Do you see her being signed up by a major promotion? I'm happy for her, and I don't know if we're going to see her in AEW or WWE, but I think we're all pretty much in agreement. We're happy for her, and whatever she wants to do with her life is
it would be
business.
nice to see her do in the wrestling business. I mean, why not? Right? Nyla Rose is over in AEW. I'm just saying, why not? Why not?
Yeah, Gabby, when she worked for the company before, she had a lot of untapped talent. She before she transitioned, Tyler Rex really was one of those guys that was just right on the cusp of, you think he's gonna do something really great, and then he disappears. So I don't know if the buzz of transitioning into Gabby would be a thing for her, but if it is and she gets a job, that's awesome. Like I said, I always felt that Tyler Rex was a decent wrestler when Tyler was in WWE. So if Gabby, returns to the company, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now going back to the main topic here, I missed a super chat from a long time ago. You guys were talking for so long, I almost completely missed
Big G's
it.
fault.
Tito's in the chat and he's watching this. He's got to be loving the fact we're talking about his column topic for so long.
Of course he is.
Anyways, Josh Mansfield sent in this $5 super chat. Hopefully I did not miss any others. Virtue, you may want to throw it back to me if you notice any super chats, just so I don't end up forgetting about them in the future, especially if Big G plans on
Jeff
having
can
some longer
skim
monologues in the
Jeff, go
future.
skim through them. Okay.
All right. Josh Mansfield said Triple H has created awesome stars. It's Vince that buries them just because he doesn't like them. They can draw if Vince lets them, so let them stay in NXT. Okay, so here's my opinion on it. I think you can blame both sides. I think when it comes to Triple H, you have to look at what NXT is. Is NXT a developmental league or is it a third brand? And now they consider themselves to be a third brand. Triple H, let's face it, NXT is basically Ring of Honor with a higher budget. It's
Right.
Triple H putting out a product that caters to the diehard wrestling fans, to the indie wrestling fans. Who do they bring in for the most part? Smaller independent wrestlers. Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, and the list goes on. These are guys that historically have not been main event mainstream stars in WWE. There have been a few exceptions like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, but even them, they were not at the John Cena or Hulk Hogan level. The biggest stars in WWE have historically been the larger-than-life wrestlers that look like they came out of the pages of a comic book. NXT
Like
doesn't
Roman
have that many guys.
Now, without his vest on.
Yeah.
I don't know why they waited so long to do that.
Yeah.
NXT doesn't have that many guys. They had a few. They had somebody like Lars Sullivan, and I mentioned him. I guess he's not that tall, but Aleister Black looked pretty intimidating, and I think he legitimately was somebody that Vince really dropped the ball on. I think that guy could have been potentially a big deal, but maybe Vince just did not like his promo skills. Who knows what the deal was? But we need more people in NXT that look like a Batista or Brock Lesnar. We need some big, muscular guys. And I hate to say it because the business has changed. It is more focused on younger, smaller, well, not really younger because they keep going back to part-timers, but smaller and more athletic guys. And that's great. But we need that larger-than-life wrestler who would stand out in a crowd. Does Johnny Gargano stand out in a crowd? No. He looks like one of us. And, that can work sometimes. Jeff Hardy was just your average guy who did backyard wrestling, and we could identify with him, and that worked. Daniel Bryan, the underdog character can work, but when everybody is the underdog all of a sudden, everybody's the same character, then nobody stands out anymore. You need somebody who stands out from everybody else. Karrion Kross is one of the few guys that could potentially be that person. If they blow it with Karrion Kross, to me, that's not Triple H's fault. That will be on Vince if Karrion Kross does not succeed. Because to me, he's got the look and the intensity and the personality. And that guy that kind of looks like Brock Lesnar, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but some of you might know who I'm talking about. Paul Heyman posted his photo. Yeah. Man, that guy.
That Bordeaux guy or whatever, yeah.
If he can pick up the business, that guy is going to be something special. I think Paul Heyman is right on the money with that guy. I think that if they bring him in, he'll do well if he can pick up the business. And it's just a matter of finding that guy. And you cannot manufacture it. That's the other thing too. As much as you prepare these guys for the main roster, sometimes that big star comes out of nowhere. You cannot just say, this is going to be our next Steve Austin. It has to happen organically, and you don't know until you try. And sometimes Vince just doesn't try with some of these guys to give them a good 6-month run on top and see if they can become a breakout star.
The one guy that Virtue did like, Dijakovic, is now T-Bar. Look what they're doing with him.
Yeah, exactly.
I still like him. I just don't like him in this iteration.
Yeah.
See, that was a 20-minute topic, all thanks to Mr. Tito. All right, now we're going to talk about the Wednesday Night War. Tito just said the NXT drew 610,000 viewers, and with Edge on the show, could still not outdraw AEW Dynamite. This is our little weekly Wednesday Night War segment. Let's see, we had a wedding on Dynamite. We had Kenta show up and beat up Moxley, and of course, Edge was on NXT. And I did enjoy that. I mean, even Edge can't make NXT draw more than it does, and it is what it is. So, Big G, this will be quick this week. Just quick thoughts on the Wednesday Night War.
I thought both shows were actually pretty good. I'm enjoying both Dusty Classic tag teams, the men's and the women's. AEW was good. I enjoyed the wedding. The main event was awesome. I like seeing Kenta at the end of the show. Hopefully, I haven't really been up on New Japan Pro Wrestling, so hopefully he doesn't get injured as often as he did back in NXT. So, both shows, like I said, both shows were great. I don't really pay attention to the viewership. That's not my thing. I just watch both shows because I am a fan of both shows, and hopefully they keep on doing. Both shows are different. Now, if they really wanted to hit real quick, if they wanted to hit over 1 million viewers, they need to be on different nights. There you go.
I think AEW could do it on a different without competition. I don't know if NXT could.
Yeah.
It's got that. I know it's a third brand now, but it's got that developmental stigma, and I think that's what keeps it from mainstream. And of course, Tito, maybe it's because there's no larger than life stars to draw down there. All right, who's next? Jeff, thoughts on the Wednesday Night War?
I like the chat room. They were talking about what Edge said last night and what NXT is supposed to be. He was spot on. 100% on the money. I love the promo. I love the hell out of Kenta showing up in a Dynamite because I have been following New Japan this year. Yay for me. I actually watched Wrestle Kingdom, and I watched Kenta defend his U.S. title briefcase, and we knew he was nipping at John's heels. It was just a matter of time. And
I like that who's that New Zealander guy down there? He's doing a pretty good job over in Japan. Who's that guy? Top heel over there. Come on.
Not Osprey.
Switchblade.
Oh, Jay White. Yeah,
Jay White. I like Jay White.
Yeah. Jay, I actually watched the shows this week. He actually came back this week. He's been gone for a little bit, but he came back this week, so he'll be interesting to see where he lays into the playing field. But yeah, Kenta actually coming over here and putting Jon Moxley on notice was awesome, and they did it on TNT. They didn't wait till Friday with New Japan Strong. He laid him out in the middle of the ring on TNT, which was tremendous cross-marketing with New Japan and AEW. Very well done by both sides. I'm looking forward to the match more now than I was a day and a half ago. So I am invested in this feud with Kenta and Jon Moxley. And NXT being the developmental stigma, you're very much correct, Virtue. The thing is, they will never get rid of that stigma because they still are. Even though they're on USA Network for 2 hours every Wednesday night, they are still the territory. They're still the brand of the company that creates stars, that trains new people, that does all those things. Somebody made a very good point a little while ago in the comments. I forget who it was, so I apologize. You need a actual legitimate developmental territory, or we're never going to see a class like we did in 2002.
No,
That's a good point. Like OVW ran by what, Jim Cornette and other people?
Yeah, Jim Cornette and not referee Danny Davis, ran that thing like a freaking school because it was. And they were getting, edicts down from JR and from Vince. Okay, this guy, do this. And you went on OVW TV and you did what you're supposed to do. And at the same time, the guys that weren't, quite up to specs on TV at that point were sent down to get trained, aka the Big Show. Great example. He went down for the second half of 2000, came back in the Rumble and whooped that ass some more. So, we need an actual territory where we, as in the audience, isn't getting force-fed it every week. That where these kids can grow in front of an audience, but not television cameras and television lighting and internet scrutiny like nothing else. They need to be able to be honed and developed within this inner circle, not the whole damn world.
Yep. Well, thank you for your input. And somebody in the chat said you talked them into submission. Fantastic job, Jeff.
That's the goal, brother.
Yes. All right, Aaron. I mean, look, your video yesterday talking about Dynamite and NXT did low viewership. I mean, you probably don't even have much to add.
Yeah, so I'll comment on that. Josh Brosnan sent in a €5 super chat. Thank you for that, Justin. I appreciate it. He says, I thought Edge was great on NXT, but Big Show should be there too to help with the heel development. Oh, man. Big Show. Everybody just wants Big Show to show up and turn heel and turn face all the time. I'm all for it, by the way.
Big Show.
He's still trying to catch me on the Mickey pictures. We had this discussion years ago. So
yeah. Go Big Show. Oh wait, no, that's the TV show. I still don't like that show name because it just reminds me of Paul White every time I hear it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Like Paul White should be the host of Go Big Show, as far as I'm concerned.
There you go.
Anyways, I was pretty disappointed with the turnout for the live stream. And, I've had a couple of people asking me, like, can you start recapping NXT again? And I try to tell them, well, it's just tough to watch both shows at the same time and be able to do proper reviews of both shows when I'm not really catching everything on both shows. It's really challenging to keep up with both of them. And the numbers just don't justify me doing it. I thought this week would be pretty big with Edge, but the live stream numbers were down, and NXT, man, that was a terrible number for them. With Edge, I mean, granted, he was not advertised on Raw or anything, but they did announce him on social media, and all the wrestling sites covered it. So people knew, the core audience knew he was going to be there, but didn't even budge the numbers like they did, like one of their lower numbers that they've done. Yeah, that was rough. And I just feel like NXT, it needs to move nights so people can focus on it more, because right now I think people want to focus on AEW, and NXT, I suppose it's serving its purpose and keeping AEW from staying over 1 million viewers. And yeah, as long as it's like that, I think things are just going to continue to be the way they are. Jeff?
You just made the comment of the night. It's doing its job by keeping AEW in 1 million. Is that why they're there? Because
pretty much.
I think so.
And they're getting payday from USA Network.
Yeah, if that's why they're there, then what I just said for the last 6 hours when I was talking there a minute ago is key.
Yeah,
these kids and these guys need to be developed without television scrutiny. Yet they're being freaking let out there in the lion's den in front of the Christians to be, mauled. And that's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You have some super chats before we get to the main event, right, Aaron?
Yeah. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, will USA force WWE to move NXT if sports happen?
Yep.
It could.
Still hockey.
But we'll have to wait and see. I hope NXT does move, though, just to Tuesday or Thursday. Same reason that I don't want Raw being a 3-hour show. It would just be easier on me. But it
Could
depends.
it become a Peacock exclusive again, like it used to be?
It depends.
Or a network?
It'll depend on what the network wants to do, and I think WWE will ultimately go with what makes them happy.
Well, with NBC Sports Network going under at the end of this coming year, the Hockey Wednesday is going to have to go somewhere, and the only cable channel that NBCU really has to dump it onto is USA Network. So it makes sense for them to move to Thursday, because think about it. Who are they competing with on Thursday? Nobody. Not even Impact. Now, granted, Impact isn't a competition if you really want to go there, but yeah. And I said this. I think I said that Big G show when I was on his show a couple weeks ago. Have Thursday be NXT Day. Mid-afternoon in the US, you get NXT UK, and then primetime you get NXT US. Marketing.
Well, there you go. There's an idea. And Sticky B sent in a €5 super chat, or $5 super chat, excuse me. He says, how about having multiple developmental territories across the country? Well, they
already have NXT UK. I believe they're maybe doing NXT Evolve. India.
They got Evolve that they're pulling people out of.
Yeah, they had that in place for the longest time because they had OVW, they had HWA, they even had ECW operating as kind of a filler system because of their financial issues. But the thing is, it really depends on how far McMahon and how far the higher ups want to extend their, extend themselves. Because, keeping track of 10, 20 regions, granted, it's a lot easier now than it was in the 80s and 90s because everything's more global. Everything's right here at the touch of your fingers on your phone or whatever. But it's still a lot. You guys don't realize how much it takes to honestly put on a wrestling show or run a wrestling school. Aaron and I have been to a few places where we've seen, like now Jesse's. Jesse had a fire with one truck and they were screwed for ever.
Jesse
Hernandez.
Jesse Hernandez from where?
From EWF.
Okay, keep in mind, people, when you say Jesse, people are going to be like,
sorry.
"Who are you talking
sorry.
about?"
Not Ventura.
You got to act like nobody knows what you're talking about.
I'm sorry about that. Okay, so granted, WWE has far more resources as far as they've got, billions of dollars or whatever. But I would be wary if I was Vince of stretching myself that thin over different regions because you don't need to. You're better served keeping your developmental system in one part of the country so you can see everybody all the time. That's why Hunter has a TV in his office to watch the rings of NXT for that reason.
Okay, I think.
Are you sitting in a seashell, Jeff?
No, I was trying my green screen out with the new camera.
That's one of those things.
So
okay. I thought it was like a clam shell.
Yeah. You know what's a developmental territory for WWE right now? AEW Dark.
Right. Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Like they just watch AEW Dark and then pick and choose which guys they want to sign.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good point. Now, Jeff, it's a Jeff Meacham show when it's 8:03 and we're just now getting into the main event.
Oh shit!
Main event. It's simple. It's easy. Edge just won the men's Royal Rumble. Bianca Belair just won the women's. Who would you like to see them face at Mania? Now we know the winners. Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay, so we have to sidetrack for a quick second here, courtesy of Adrian. He sent in a €2 super chat. Says, "Did the panel see the Yokozuna documentary?" Yes, that was a great documentary. WWE does an awesome job with all those documentaries, and it was pretty heartbreaking to hear some of the relatives, Rikishi and the Samoans, talk about his health decline. But it was very powerful, and I highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, you really got to scope for just how many members of the Anoa'i family have been in WWE. It's like everybody's passed through at least once. So and I'm looking forward to the other ones about the icons. I know they went on Rob. I'm looking forward to see how they did the RVD one because he's actually still alive and could contribute. So I'm curious how that went because you never know what you're going to get with Rob when you do an interview with him. So we'll see how that went.
Yokozuna, I loved it. I loved the music.
So great.
I loved the Japanese settings, just everything. And the guy was Samoan, classic. But he was from the Persian Islands or whatever. Not Persian, Polynesian Islands. All right, Big G, Persian, Polynesian, whatever.
I thought he was from Southern California.
Well, yeah. Big G, who are they going to face, and who would you like them to face? Like, you got maybe you tell me who WWE's the direction they're going to go, and what you would like to see if something different.
WWE is probably going to go with Drew versus Edge, but I would love to see Roman Reigns versus Edge.
I honestly think that's what they're going to go with now. I've heard more traction on that the past 24 hours.
Because honestly, that'd be the best way to go. If you remember last year, Roman eliminated Edge from the Royal Rumble. I believe the promos would be exceptionally awesome between the two. And yeah, we'll see Spear versus Spear, but I think this match will have great storytelling. Bianca Belair, the most obvious choice, Sasha Banks. If Sasha loses it, you could have Bianca versus Bayley one more time for the women's title. Other than that, whoever they put against each other, I think will have hopefully great storytelling, great promos, and a great build up to WrestleMania.
No, wait, you don't want Edge versus Finn Balor? Come on, man. Yeah, we get it. That did not work very well with Charlotte last year and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, honestly, if they do it, it would be a good match, but I don't think they need to have Finn Balor versus Edge right now.
Okay. But, Jeff, I do think maybe they did have original plans for McIntyre and Edge. Now, I don't know if Rollins botched anything and was supposed to win, or if it was supposed to be Edge all along. They moved Edge to number 1 for a reason. I have a feeling they knew he was going to win at the very beginning. Now that we know he's the winner, to me, the money match is Spear versus Spear. As cliche as that sounds, they love the 7 to 12-year-old kids. Hey, let's buy my WWE action figures and our title belts. That's a perfect, the wrestling fans are going to like whatever they give them because they watch anyway. The diehards, because they watch whether it's good or bad. Right. And I like Big G saying Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. I can't even think of another scenario there. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, there's no money with Bianca and Asuka. It's just not there for me. Bianca and Sasha, you've got the Boss versus the EST, which is basically very similar characters if you really break it down as far as they're cocky, they're commenting themselves. So it's a great, not even a contrast style, it's a great battle of similar styles, which I think is very rare. So there is that. As far as the men's side, yeah, Edge versus Drew doesn't look likely because it looks like they're positioning Drew to face Sheamus now at WrestleMania, which I'm not necessarily, I don't have a problem with that because it'll be a decent program, I think, for the next 9 weeks. I think I can get 9 weeks out of that. And I hope they do. Drew versus Roman, there's more there. And somebody in the chat earlier said that Roman has no one to face. Roman has everybody to face. Drew doesn't. Complete opposite. Drew has nobody to face at this point. Drew has people
unless they bring Brock back to get revenge from last year.
Right. Yeah. The only thing I see for Roman at this point is, the long talked about Brock Lesnar coming back and, making Paul Heyman choose sides. So I think putting Edge in that spot is the best idea. NXT, again, I'd like to see Edge versus Balor. That'd be cool, but that's not a WrestleMania main event. And Edge said flat out, I'm back to be in the championship match at WrestleMania. And that's not the championship match. That's not the match. And Bianca challenging Io Shirai or whoever wins at TakeOver, same thing. It's not a money match. Charlotte facing Rhea was a money match because it was Charlotte. No disrespect to Rhea Ripley, but Charlotte being the challenger made that a money match. So we're not going to see a repeat of that for a long time, I don't think.
Yeah, and someone just said, Michael Pitt said, I'm pleased we aren't getting Roman versus Daniel Bryan. They just haven't done Daniel Bryan right since he dropped the title to Kofi Kingston. For whatever reason, it's not his fault. I think he just wants to wrestle. He just likes wrestling. I don't think he cares who he feuds against. He's still making money. Yeah. But yeah, they just have not. They've dropped the ball with Daniel Bryan after his retirement. Since he's been back.
Yep.
Okay, Aaron, over to you.
We have a super chat from Adrian, $2 or €2. Says Spear versus Spear versus Spear, Edge versus Roman Reigns versus Goldberg.
No, don't even say that.
Don't put
please.
that out in the universe. Why?
I'd rather have
Why?
Goldberg face Riddle, even if Goldberg beats him, just to get that out of the way. If Goldberg does Mania,
That's the one thing I'm okay with Goldberg doing is just taking Riddle apart piece by piece.
I mean, I'd love to see Goldberg versus Riddle at WrestleMania just because I would be legitimately intrigued to see how it played out.
Right, exactly.
I think they would have Goldberg beat him to get a W back because he's lost his last couple.
But I'd love to see them actually wrestle for like 10 minutes and exchange submission holds, and like Goldberg actually show everybody he could actually work a submission style match and work.
I don't know if he can ever go more than 5 or 6.
Yeah, probably not.
I want him to spear Riddle into freaking St. Petersburg. Screw that wrestling around bull crap. No.
Anyways, for WrestleMania, I think it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Edge. I'm very cool with it. I would have been fine with Drew McIntyre versus Edge, but maybe we got somebody else planned for McIntyre. Could be Brock Lesnar. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Bianca Belair, to me, Sasha Banks is the opponent. And I think anybody else would be a mistake. And I think Sasha needs to go heel. I've seen people in the chat room confused about that.
She's got a bitchy attitude. It's perfect for her.
Yeah.
She had her face run to feud with Bayley. I think it's time for her to go back to being a heel. So yeah, those are the two matches I'm expecting at this point. And I think those are the best choices for now. You know, I would have liked Reigns versus Cena, but Cena's apparently doing his HBO Max series, and that's filming until like June or something. And he's not going to be able to come from Canada and then travel back. Although that may ease up that restriction by the time WrestleMania comes along, but you can't really plan for that right now. And plus,
doesn't Brock live in Canada?
Yeah, but
so that's why we might not see Brock till after the pandemic either.
Yeah, it could be. And Psycho Jet Black says Riddle versus Cesaro in a Lion's Den match. Interesting. I'd be down with that. Like
someone said Riddle versus Goldberg in a brawl for all, dude.
Oh my God.
Dude, Riddle would kill him. Riddle is a trained UFC fighter that once held the record for most strikes landed. He's the reason why he's not doing it is because he can't smoke weed.
Yep.
Or he'd still be a professional cage fighter.
Yep. I'm cool with Roman Reigns and Edge and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. What about you, Virtue?
Yeah, I mean that's it. The money matches. Now that we know the winners of the Rumble, Spear versus Spear, I'm all for that. I actually said it the night Edge won it immediately. I figured that's where they're going to go. And then Belair versus Sasha Banks for so many reasons beyond it'll be a good match. Just the demographics they would hit with being women. Bianca Belair is African American. I mean, that deserves to be in a huge profile match at WrestleMania. And so good for them. That's what I hope they do.
All right. And Virtue, we actually have a super chat here before we start wrapping it up. Adrian sent in a €5 super chat. He says, thoughts on Ray and Dominic going for the tag team titles or a father versus son match at WrestleMania? I think it's too soon for father versus son, but I'd love to see them go for the tag titles. I'd be fine with that. I really don't have an issue with that. Big G, any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I could see them going for the tag titles. Hopefully, possibly boost up the tag division.
Jeff?
Tag titles, I think, would be a better choice. I mean, it's proven that Ray going against family at WrestleMania is never a good start because that led to the custody match in the first place. So,
right.
Bad
It sits Ziggler and Roode are the champs now. I thought we were going to have Street Profits defend the titles against the Usos at WrestleMania. Maybe that will still happen. But if Roode and Ziggler are going to be the tag champs going into WrestleMania, then you need a babyface tag team to go after them. So maybe Rey Mysterio and Dominic.
Yeah, put them there. I have no interest in
would they be
not their fault.
But son tag team champions?
Yes, that's a trivia question.
So. Pretty sure.
I believe so.
Pretty sure they would be.
All right. Well, too bad Greg wasn't here because Greg would probably know for sure. He knows.
Are we ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready. I mean, Greg would know like who who was the sixth person to win the Intercontinental title in 1999, and he would know what city it was in and all that stuff, and he would know the match that took place right before
He's
it.
got a chip in his head that he can hear. That's what has to be. Oh, Aaron,
Adrian,
go for it. Yep, there it is. All
right, Adrian sent in a €2 super chat. He says, Edge and Christian versus Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy at SummerSlam. Ooh,
no. He said Jeff. Does he want me to team with Riddle at SummerSlam? That's weird.
I think he meant Jeff Hardy.
Oh, you're right, because they're on team on TV. I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, they're the Hardy Bros. So Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Bros at SummerSlam. Sure, why not?
Book it.
I'd be cool with it.
SummerSlam. Okay. All right, we're going to go around and do our plugs, and we know where that's going to lead. Maybe another super chat or two when it gets back to Aaron. So, Jeff Meacham, I'll start with you since you made your return today.
Maybe.
By the way, shout out to Robbie Vice, right? He's not going to be on for a bit because of obligations he has on Thursday nights, but he'll be back at some point.
Right. Well, you can find. Well, this is how the network looks right now. I have to redo the logo because I have a new logo. But yes, JeffMeachamNetwork.com takes you to this. Among other things, this is our YouTube channel where we actually had the Wrestling Rewind today, as well as the post game of the Wrestling Trivia Challenge matchup. And we're doing a lot of things on the network right now. We have a show every day of the week during the weekdays. And, I tried to do the Rumble thing on Sunday. It didn't happen, but we'll see how it goes for for Mania. But yes, please support us at teespring.com/store/FHM Network. You can buy, not this shirt, you can buy the NoDQ shirt at the NoDQ store. You can buy the shirt that Big G is wearing, Stat Boy Sports Bar shirt in multiple colors. And we do have the new shirt on sale. Our Back to the Future tribute logo is now up there in the Teespring store as well. So that's it for me.
All right. Thanks for being on. And I like the hat. I like your hat too, Big G, because it's no DQ. So
that's it, baby. There you go.
Over to you.
Yes, NoDQ.com/BigBallaG takes you to my Twitter page. And also the link for my YouTube channel, which features the Gridiron Grapple. If you haven't checked it out yet, the past 2 weeks I interviewed good old JM Jeff Meacham and the boss man himself. So go check that out. And other than that, I'm good to go.
Cool. And eventually I'll be on there too, but you do that at a time where I'm still working during the day.
We'll figure out a date and time.
Stay tuned. All right, Aaron.
All right, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says Edge and Christian versus Aaron and Jeff TLC Inferno match.
I don't mess with fire. Nope.
What? Jeff, nope. Is that hat? Can that protect you from fire?
No, this is probably the most flammable thing on my body right now.
Oh, well then you're definitely
I'd probably go straight up in a stack right away.
Okay, well then that will not work out because I would insist you wear the hat if we were to team up,
Well, the thing is though, when they sold this hat at Universal Studios, the backdraft thing was open. That's not good planning purposes at all. That's terrible. So,
all right.
If you know, you know.
Make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com, of course, and check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/NoDQDOTCOM. And what game is that, Virtue?
Battlegrounds, because this month I have all my equipment. I will be streaming this game, me playing it on the NoDQ Twitch if Aaron lets me. I have my capture card, my new camera coming, and this is the game. I'm doing my Nintendo Switch first because that's going to be the easiest way for me to stream. So WWE Battlegrounds, and you get to watch me play it.
All right, go ahead with your plugs.
Follow me on Twitter. You know the routine at NoDQ_Virtue, where I will do some troll slaying. No, I'm not a troll. I'm a troll slayer. And you can go to my Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue. Oh, and NoDQ.com/merch for t-shirts. Aaron, can we close it up, or did you get any more super chats?
We can close it up, I think. Oh, wait. Well, nope.
Damn.
Just as you said it, Adrian sent in a €5 super chat. I'm surprised nobody has trolled us by sending in like a long-ass super chat question. Wait a minute. Wasn't there one last week that we were supposed to read off that we never did?
Yeah, it got cut off.
It went off the air, but I don't remember what that was.
No,
you should have wrote it down.
I should have, but
it might be in the chat in the thing in your StreamYard still. It might still be there. So
yeah, but I'm gonna have to go check that out. Okay, well, anyways, Adrian's €5 super chat says it's WrestleMania season, so I'm challenging Jeff Meacham to an I Quit match as I point to the WrestleMania sign. Are you guys ever gonna do your debate or what?
You tell me.
I thought we were gonna have a debate with you guys.
I already told you guys I'm not messing with the WrestleMania sign this year. I'm not doing the WrestleMania sign is going to get me drunk this year. But how many people point to it? So I am staying away from the WrestleMania sign. However, pick a topic or whatever it is. 3 on the show. Let me know what you guys want to debate. I am totally down for debating something. It's just a matter of he's 8 hours ahead of me. So that's the bitch. So
okay. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a €2 super chat or $2. I keep mixing them up. Whatever. They are different though, so I should get it right.
Yeah,
Psycho Jet Black says Bart Gunn versus the Red Rooster Iron Man match at WrestleMania. Why do you want to torture people so bad? Like, why do you want people to have to suffer?
I think he wants Terry Taylor to suffer, which I'm okay with, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would be cool with a Bart Gunn cameo. I've made this very clear in the past. Like, I would not have an issue with him appearing every once in a while. You know, I would be okay with it. So
yeah. I mean, if you want to put Bart Gunn and Terry Taylor in a boxing match, that's fine with me, but not no 60-minute match. Screw that.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, I think we are pretty much
hour 21
set here.
All right. So No DQ Galaxy, thanks for watching. We will be back next week. But for Jeff Meacham, Big G, and Aaron Rift, I am Virtue. This has been the No DQ review number 127, and we'll see you next time.